The day had started like any other for the hotel staff, with the lobby bustling with the gentle hum of activity. Guests were checking in and out, suitcases rolled across the polished floors, and the air smelled faintly of fresh flowers and coffee. Among the usual crowd, a man walked in who immediately drew attention. He was dressed in a crisp suit that looked tailored to perfection, his shoes polished to a mirror shine. There was something about the way he moved, with a quiet confidence, that made everyone pause for a moment. He approached the front desk where the concierge stood waiting, greeting guests with the practiced ease of someone who had seen every kind of visitor. The man's eyes scanned the lobby with mild amusement, a faint smirk playing on his lips. When the concierge welcomed him politely and offered assistance, the man chuckled softly, as if the formalities amused him. It was not a loud laugh, but the kind that carried a hint of superiority, a subtle way of saying, "I am above all this." The concierge, seasoned in dealing with all sorts of personalities, did not flinch. He simply nodded and asked what kind of room would suit him best. Guests in the lobby couldn't help but notice the interaction. Some tried to hide their curiosity behind polite smiles, while others watched openly, sensing the tension that hung in the air. The man's presence seemed to command attention, and yet there was a lightness to his laughter that made him seem almost human, not just a figure of wealth and influence. He had a way of observing people that suggested he was used to being around those who either admired or feared him. The concierge, maintaining his calm demeanor, explained the available suites with a quiet confidence. He spoke with precision, giving details that only someone who genuinely cared about the guest's comfort would know. Yet, every word seemed to be met with a faint, amused chuckle from the millionaire. He found the formality amusing, as if the polite routines of the staff were part of a small comedy meant just for him. Despite the chuckle, he listened carefully, asking questions that revealed his keen interest in the details of the hotel, but always with a teasing tone. As the check-in process continued, the concierge maintained professional courtesy, showing no sign of offense. He had met many wealthy guests over the years, some demanding, some indifferent, and some, like this man, who arrived with an air of playful superiority. It was clear that the concierge was not intimidated. In fact, he seemed to enjoy the challenge, welcoming the opportunity to demonstrate that appearances could be deceiving. Once the room was assigned and the keys handed over, the millionaire gave a small nod, still smirking, and made his way to the elevator. He moved with an air of expectation, curious to see what the hotel had to offer beyond the front desk. Guests watching him could not help but feel that something unusual was about to happen, though no one could say what. His presence alone had changed the atmosphere, bringing a mixture of curiosity and intrigue to the usually predictable lobby. The concierge returned to his station, watching silently as the man disappeared into the elevator. There was a quiet satisfaction in knowing that he had handled the situation without losing composure. While the millionaire's laughter had been a small test of patience and professionalism, it also hinted at the possibility of unexpected surprises. The concierge knew that wealth and confidence often came with a sense of invincibility, and sometimes that could be the perfect setup for a lesson that no one expected. Throughout the lobby, whispers began to circulate among staff and guests alike. Some wondered who the man was, speculating about his wealth and influence. Others admired the way the concierge handled the interaction, noting his calmness in the face of subtle arrogance. It was a reminder that sometimes, true confidence was quiet and understated, unlike the loud displays of power that some individuals favored. The millionaire's initial amusement at the concierge's formality set the tone for what would be a memorable visit. His laughter, light and teasing, masked a curiosity that was yet to be revealed. As he settled into his room, he continued to think about the staff and the hotel's ambience. It was a space that combined elegance with comfort, and he found himself appreciating the attention to detail even as he maintained his playful demeanor. Meanwhile, the concierge prepared for the day ahead, aware that guests like this one could make an ordinary day anything but ordinary. He moved through the lobby with quiet efficiency, checking on arrangements, assisting other visitors, and making sure everything was in perfect order. There was a subtle pride in his work, knowing that the hotel's reputation depended not only on luxury but on the skill and composure of those who ran it. By the afternoon, the millionaire had explored some of the hotel's features, from the quiet reading rooms to the sparkling pool. His chuckles had grown softer, almost thoughtful, as he observed the care with which every detail was managed. The concierge, seeing this, recognized that the man's initial amusement was perhaps not mockery but a sign of someone used to expecting perfection in all things. It was rare to see someone respond with such a mix of playfulness and genuine curiosity. Evening approached, and the lobby began to fill with guests returning from their day. The air carried a gentle warmth, with the soft hum of conversation blending with the distant sound of music from the hotel's lounge. The millionaire returned to the front desk, this time with a faint smile rather than a chuckle, and asked casually about the evening's entertainment. The concierge responded with a calm description of the options, including the piano performances that often drew attention from guests. The millionaire raised an eyebrow, intrigued but still maintaining his playful attitude, hinting that he was ready to see what was worth noticing. The day had unfolded quietly, but with a subtle tension that hinted at something remarkable yet to come. The millionaire's laughter had broken the routine, and the concierge's composed response had set the stage for a moment that would leave a lasting impression. As night fell and the lobby lights cast a warm glow, the hotel seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the next chapter of this encounter to reveal itself. The scene was set. A man used to control and attention, a staff member who could meet any challenge with quiet dignity, and a space where the ordinary could quickly turn into something extraordinary. Both were aware, in their own way, that this was not just another day at the hotel, but the beginning of a story that neither would soon forget. Every detail, from the polished floors to the soft laughter, contributed to a feeling that something beyond expectation was about to unfold. The millionaire, as he finally retreated to his room, could not have known how his perception of the hotel, its staff, and even himself would soon be tested. Yet, even in his amusement, there was a spark of curiosity, a recognition that perhaps this visit would be more memorable than any other. The concierge, standing at his post, watched with calm anticipation, ready to meet whatever came next with skill, patience, and an understanding that sometimes, true talent reveals itself in the quietest, most unexpected ways. The next morning, the lobby was alive with the usual rush of guests, but the air felt different to those who had noticed the previous day's interaction. Staff whispered quietly among themselves, still talking about the man who had arrived with a confident smirk and laughter that had seemed to tease the concierge. There was a mix of curiosity and expectation, as if everyone sensed that the millionaire's visit might not be ordinary. He had returned to the hotel after breakfast, and the concierge greeted him with the same calm, professional smile that had not wavered once. The millionaire nodded politely, a slight twinkle in his eye, as if he remembered the previous day's small exchange. He asked casually about the hotel's daily schedule and inquired about the amenities. The concierge, unfazed by his lighthearted demeanor, explained with detail and care, highlighting a few activities that might interest him, including a small lounge where live piano performances took place every evening. The millionaire's smirk returned, faint but noticeable, and he made a soft laugh, teasing the concierge about whether anyone's playing could truly impress him. The concierge only smiled, a quiet, knowing expression that suggested he understood much more than he was saying. Throughout the day, the millionaire wandered the hotel's corridors and gardens, observing the staff, the decor, and the way guests were cared for. He noticed small things: a bellhop helping an elderly guest with her luggage, a housekeeper arranging flowers in a room, the smooth coordination of the kitchen and restaurant staff. Each of these moments brought a small, thoughtful smile to his face, even if his tone remained teasing when he spoke to others. He had spent much of his life surrounded by luxury and attention, and yet, he found the quiet dedication of the hotel staff strangely appealing. There was a sense of authenticity that he rarely encountered in his usual circles. As afternoon turned into early evening, the hotel began preparing for the nightly lounge performance. The concierge, aware of the millionaire's curiosity, approached him casually and mentioned the music schedule once again. He described how guests could relax in comfortable chairs while a pianist played pieces ranging from classical to modern arrangements. The millionaire chuckled lightly, as if it were a small challenge, and remarked that he had heard plenty of pianists in his life and was yet to be impressed by one. There was no arrogance in his words now, just a playful curiosity, a hint that he enjoyed testing others' skills against his own expectations. The lounge slowly filled with guests, the warm lights reflecting off polished surfaces and creating a cozy, inviting atmosphere. The soft chatter of people combined with the distant clinking of glasses, setting the stage for something special. The millionaire settled into a chair near the center, watching casually as other guests took their seats. He observed the staff with interest, noting their professionalism and the calm efficiency with which they guided the visitors. His smirk was now accompanied by genuine anticipation, as if he could sense that an ordinary evening might turn extraordinary. The concierge approached the piano with quiet grace, taking his seat without a word. There was a stillness in the room as people began to notice the poised figure at the piano, his calm demeanor contrasting sharply with the lively chatter around him. The millionaire, leaning back in his chair, raised an eyebrow, curious but unprepared for what was about to happen. The first note sounded, soft and deliberate, catching the attention of everyone in the room. It was not loud or dramatic, but the clarity and precision of the sound immediately drew focus. As the music continued, the complexity and emotion began to unfold. Each note seemed perfectly chosen, each chord resonating deeply, filling the lounge with a richness that was hard to ignore. The millionaire's playful smirk began to fade, replaced by genuine intrigue. He leaned forward slightly, watching the movements of the pianist's hands, the way his fingers danced across the keys with both skill and passion. Guests around him fell silent, caught in the spell of the music, unable to continue their conversations. The sound had a way of touching something deep, creating an invisible connection among everyone present. The performance was not just about speed or showmanship. It was about expression. The pianist seemed to communicate feelings that words could not capture, and the millionaire found himself noticing things he had never thought about before. The rise and fall of each note, the subtle pauses, the way tension and release could be created through music. It was mesmerizing. He felt an unfamiliar sensation, a mix of admiration and surprise. He had not expected such depth from someone he had laughed at the day before. There was humility in the sound, a quiet power that demanded respect. Minutes passed, though it felt like hours. The lounge was completely silent except for the music. Guests who had been skeptical, some even whispering to each other before the performance began, were now completely absorbed. The millionaire's eyes followed the pianist, noting the intense focus and the skill in every movement. There was no exaggeration, no attempt to impress beyond the music itself. It was pure, heartfelt, and breathtaking. He realized that his initial amusement had been misplaced. Talent and dedication could not always be judged by appearances, and he found himself reflecting on the assumptions he had made. As the final notes faded into a gentle silence, the room remained still for a moment, as if no one wanted to break the spell. The audience slowly began to clap, first softly, then with growing enthusiasm, unable to contain their admiration. The millionaire, sitting near the center, joined in, clapping with genuine respect and a smile that carried warmth rather than amusement. It was a subtle shift, but one that marked the beginning of a change in perspective. He understood now that he had underestimated the concierge, not only as a professional but as someone capable of extraordinary skill. After the applause, the millionaire remained in his seat for a few moments, taking in the atmosphere. He watched other guests approach the pianist, offering congratulations and expressing their awe. There was a sense of connection in the room, a shared experience that went beyond social status or wealth. The music had created a bridge between people, making everyone equal in their appreciation for the artistry displayed before them. The millionaire felt an unexpected sense of humility, a reminder that talent and passion could command respect far more effectively than money or influence. The concierge, now standing beside the piano, received the praise with quiet dignity. He nodded politely, acknowledging each compliment without arrogance. It was clear that he had expected little recognition beyond the enjoyment of the music itself. Yet, the respect he had earned from the millionaire and the other guests was genuine and well-deserved. The evening had shifted from ordinary to remarkable, and it had all begun with a simple interaction at the front desk. The millionaire approached the concierge afterward, no longer smiling with playful amusement, but with a genuine sense of respect. He thanked him for the performance, admitting that he had been wrong to doubt the impact someone could have with skill and dedication. The concierge accepted the words with quiet grace, knowing that the evening had accomplished more than just entertainment. It had bridged gaps, softened pride, and created a memorable experience for everyone involved. By the time the lounge emptied and the night settled over the hotel, a sense of calm and satisfaction lingered in the air. The millionaire returned to his room, reflecting on the events of the day. He realized that wealth and confidence could only carry a person so far, and that true admiration was earned through effort, talent, and the ability to inspire others. The concierge, meanwhile, returned to his post in the lobby, carrying a quiet pride that came not from recognition, but from knowing that he had shared something meaningful and lasting with those who had witnessed it. The story of the evening would be remembered by those who were there, a tale of surprise, humility, and the power of genuine skill. The millionaire's chuckle at the concierge had been replaced by awe, a transformation that spoke volumes about the way first impressions could be misleading. What had started as a light-hearted interaction had grown into a moment of profound impact, proving that talent, patience, and calm confidence could speak louder than words, wealth, or status. The following morning, the hotel buzzed with the usual energy, yet there was a quiet anticipation lingering in the air. Staff members exchanged glances, remembering the night before and the millionaire's astonished reaction to the piano performance. The concierge moved among the guests with calm efficiency, yet there was a subtle awareness in his posture, a recognition that extraordinary events had occurred, even in a place where extraordinary was rare. The millionaire returned to the hotel after a leisurely breakfast, walking through the lobby with a different demeanor than his first arrival. The playful smirk had softened into a more thoughtful expression. While he still carried himself with confidence, there was a noticeable change in the way he observed his surroundings. He stopped briefly to watch a young bellhop carefully guide a family with children to the elevator, smiling faintly at the boy's nervous but determined effort. He realized that competence and attention to detail could be as captivating as wealth or status, and it sparked a new kind of curiosity within him. As he approached the front desk, the concierge greeted him with the same steady professionalism, acknowledging him with a nod and a polite smile. The millionaire's tone was more genuine than before, no longer teasing but lightly inquisitive. He asked about the evening's entertainment, genuinely curious about whether another performance could capture the magic of the previous night. The concierge provided a detailed explanation of the scheduled events, highlighting the pianist's routine, as well as the variety of musical pieces he could play. There was a hint of quiet challenge in the description, almost inviting the millionaire to witness the next performance for himself. Throughout the day, the millionaire explored the hotel further, moving through spaces he had not yet noticed. He wandered through the quiet reading room, running his fingers over the spines of books that smelled faintly of age and care. He strolled past the garden, where flowers were arranged meticulously, and paused to admire the subtle artistry of the landscaping. Staff members greeted him politely, and he nodded in acknowledgement, recognizing the effort behind every smile and every detail of their work. He was beginning to understand that true dedication was visible not just in grand gestures but in quiet, consistent care. As evening approached, the lounge began to fill with guests again. There was a soft murmur of conversation, glasses clinking, and the gentle rustle of chairs as people settled in. The millionaire took his usual seat, this time closer to the front, clearly anticipating the performance. He watched as the concierge approached the piano with calm composure, taking his seat and preparing for the evening. There was a subtle tension in the room, a shared sense of expectation that something special was about to happen. The first notes rang out, clear and deliberate, capturing the attention of everyone present. The music flowed smoothly, each note chosen with care, each phrase conveying emotion that words could not express. The millionaire leaned forward, his gaze fixed on the pianist's hands, observing the precision and grace with which each key was pressed. The performance was mesmerizing, and he felt a growing admiration that had not been present during his first visit. There was a humility in the music that contrasted sharply with the confident, playful demeanor he had displayed upon arrival. As the performance continued, the complexity and depth of the music became more apparent. The pianist moved seamlessly between styles, transitioning from gentle, delicate passages to powerful, expressive chords that resonated through the room. The millionaire felt a sense of awe building within him, a realization that true talent could captivate in a way that nothing else could. Guests around him remained silent, fully absorbed in the music, their previous conversations forgotten. The room was united by a shared experience, each person feeling the subtle emotions conveyed through the piano. The millionaire's initial skepticism melted away entirely. He had expected a simple performance, perhaps skilled but lacking depth. Instead, he found himself drawn into a narrative conveyed entirely through music. Each phrase seemed to tell a story, each chord evoked emotion, and each pause allowed the audience to reflect. He realized that his previous chuckles at the concierge's formality had been misplaced, a reminder that appearances could be deceiving and that skill and passion often revealed themselves quietly. Time seemed to slow as the performance reached its peak. The pianist's hands moved with a combination of precision and feeling that made the music come alive. The millionaire's heart raced slightly, not out of excitement, but from a profound respect for the talent displayed before him. He found himself noticing the subtle ways the pianist connected with the audience, the small glances, the posture, the calm yet confident demeanor that conveyed both humility and mastery. The music was more than entertainment. It was a lesson in dedication, focus, and the quiet power of human expression. As the final notes faded into silence, the room held its breath for a moment longer, as if reluctant to break the spell. Applause erupted, soft at first, then growing louder, filling the lounge with energy and appreciation. The millionaire joined in, clapping with genuine enthusiasm, a smile of respect replacing any trace of amusement. He realized that the performance had not only impressed him, but had also shifted his perspective on what it meant to excel, to earn admiration, and to touch the lives of others through one's skills. After the performance, the millionaire approached the concierge with a sincere expression. There was no teasing in his words, only acknowledgement of the talent and dedication he had witnessed. He expressed genuine gratitude and respect, recognizing that the previous day's laughter had been premature, and that the evening's experience had taught him a valuable lesson. The concierge accepted the praise with quiet dignity, aware that the impact of his performance extended far beyond mere applause. The evening ended with a sense of calm and fulfillment. Guests left the lounge discussing the music, sharing impressions and reflecting on the emotional journey they had experienced. The millionaire returned to his room, still thinking about the performance and the lessons hidden within it. He understood now that wealth and influence could not replace skill, passion, or the ability to inspire others. The concierge, meanwhile, returned to his duties with a quiet satisfaction, knowing that the evening had been more than a display of talent. It had been a demonstration of the power of patience, practice, and authentic connection. The story of the night would linger in the memories of those who witnessed it. The millionaire's playful chuckle had evolved into genuine respect, a transformation that highlighted the unexpected ways in which people could learn from one another. Talent, humility, and dedication had combined to create a moment of shared human experience, leaving an impression that would not soon fade. Both the guest and the staff had been touched by the evening, their interactions now carrying a deeper understanding and mutual admiration. As the hotel settled into the quiet of the night, there was a sense that something profound had occurred. The millionaire, once amused by formality and routine, had experienced a revelation that shifted his perspective. He understood that life was full of moments where talent and dedication could surprise and inspire, often in the most unexpected places. The concierge, having quietly guided this journey, knew that his work had reached beyond simple hospitality. It had created an experience that would resonate long after the notes had faded. The next evening, the hotel felt alive in a way that was different from the usual routine. Guests moved about, chatting quietly, their voices mingling with the soft background music that drifted through the lobby. The concierge noticed the subtle tension of anticipation in the air, a mix of curiosity and expectation. Some remembered the millionaire's reaction from the previous evening, while others were simply drawn to the calm presence of the staff who seemed to anticipate every need before it was voiced. The millionaire arrived later than usual, taking his time as if savoring the surroundings. His expression had changed yet again. The playful smirk was gone, replaced by a calm, reflective demeanor. He observed the lobby and its guests with a quiet appreciation, taking note of the little details, the way a vase of flowers was arranged, how a staff member discreetly assisted a guest, the gentle rhythm of the hotel as it carried on smoothly. There was an air of respect in his eyes now, a recognition that excellence could be found not only in grand gestures but also in quiet consistency. He approached the front desk and exchanged a polite greeting with the concierge. There was a subtle understanding between them now, a sense that each respected the other. The concierge offered information about the evening schedule, including the piano performance that had captured the attention of everyone the night before. The millionaire nodded, showing genuine interest, and even asked about the pianist's background, curious to learn more about the talent that had so thoroughly impressed him. The concierge shared a brief story about the pianist's years of dedication, training, and love for music, revealing the depth of commitment that went unseen by many. The lounge began to fill with guests as the evening progressed. Conversations hushed as people settled into their seats, drawn by the anticipation of another remarkable performance. The millionaire took a seat near the center, his posture relaxed but attentive. There was a subtle energy in the room, a quiet hum of excitement as everyone waited for the music to begin. The concierge approached the piano, calm and composed, ready to transform the evening into something unforgettable once more. When the first note sounded, the room fell into a deep, attentive silence. The music was both gentle and powerful, carrying with it an emotion that resonated immediately with everyone present. The millionaire leaned forward slightly, his gaze fixed on the pianist's hands, watching each movement with admiration. This was no longer a casual observation or a playful challenge. He was fully engaged, feeling the emotion and depth behind every note. Guests were similarly absorbed, their conversations forgotten, replaced by the magnetic pull of the music. As the performance unfolded, the complexity of the pieces became more apparent. The pianist moved seamlessly between soft, delicate melodies and bold, resonant chords that filled the lounge with richness. Each note seemed deliberate, each pause thoughtfully placed, as if telling a story through sound alone. The millionaire felt a wave of awe and respect, realizing that the talent before him was not just skillful but deeply expressive. There was a human connection in the performance, a silent conversation between the pianist and the audience that transcended words. Throughout the performance, the millionaire noticed the subtle ways the pianist engaged with the audience. There were small glances, gentle smiles, and a quiet assurance that drew people in without a word. The music seemed to touch something deeper, evoking emotions that the audience did not expect to feel in a hotel lounge. The millionaire, who had once been skeptical and amused, now found himself profoundly moved. He understood, in a way he had not before, that true talent could captivate and inspire, sometimes humbling even the most confident and experienced individuals. As the performance reached its crescendo, the room was completely silent, every listener caught in the spell of the music. The millionaire felt a surge of emotion, a mix of admiration, respect, and a touch of humility. He realized that the power of skill and passion could surpass any social status or wealth, leaving a lasting impression that could not be bought or demanded. The audience collectively held its breath, sensing the culmination of a performance that was more than entertainment. It was an experience, a revelation of what dedication and artistry could achieve. When the final notes echoed softly into silence, the lounge remained still for a moment, as if no one wanted to break the magic. Then, slowly, applause began to ripple through the room, growing in intensity as guests expressed their appreciation. The millionaire joined in enthusiastically, clapping with genuine respect, his smile now sincere and unguarded. There was no trace of his previous amusement, only admiration for the skill and emotion that had been shared with everyone in the room. After the performance, the millionaire approached the pianist with a quiet, heartfelt acknowledgement. He expressed his gratitude and admiration, admitting that he had underestimated the depth of talent that could exist in someone he had initially dismissed. The pianist accepted the praise humbly, aware that the performance had accomplished more than simply impressing one guest. It had touched an audience, changed perceptions, and created a shared experience that was memorable and meaningful. The millionaire then turned to the concierge, offering a sincere nod of respect. He acknowledged the role that the concierge had played in facilitating the performance, recognizing the careful orchestration and quiet dedication that made such moments possible. There was an unspoken understanding between the two men now, a bond formed through shared appreciation for talent, professionalism, and the subtle ways in which excellence reveals itself. As the lounge emptied, guests lingering to discuss the performance, the atmosphere was filled with warmth and satisfaction. Conversations revolved around the emotion of the music, the skill of the pianist, and the way the performance had created a sense of unity among strangers. The millionaire, reflecting on the evening, felt a quiet sense of gratitude. He realized that humility and openness to new experiences could bring unexpected lessons and insights, enriching life in ways that wealth alone could never achieve. Back in his room, the millionaire contemplated the events of the evening. He had arrived at the hotel confident, playful, and somewhat skeptical, expecting little more than comfort and routine. Instead, he had witnessed an extraordinary display of talent and dedication that had changed his perspective. The experience reminded him that true skill, passion, and authenticity could command respect and admiration in ways that no status or wealth could replicate. It was a lesson that he would carry with him beyond the walls of the hotel. The concierge, completing his nightly duties, felt a quiet satisfaction as he reflected on the performance and the impact it had made. His role extended beyond simple hospitality. It was about creating opportunities for moments that could inspire, surprise, and connect people. The millionaire's transformation from playful amusement to genuine respect was evidence of the subtle power that talent and dedication could hold. The evening had proven that true excellence is often revealed quietly, through consistent effort, humility, and the ability to touch others in meaningful ways. As the night deepened and the hotel settled into a peaceful quiet, both the millionaire and the concierge understood that the events of the evening had left a lasting impression. The pianist's performance had been a catalyst for reflection, admiration, and a newfound appreciation for talent and human connection. It was a moment that would remain vivid in memory, illustrating the profound impact that one person's dedication and skill could have on the perception and hearts of others. The night ended with a sense of fulfillment, a recognition of the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary, and the quiet joy that comes from witnessing true talent in action. The following morning, the hotel had a serene calm that contrasted with the excitement of the previous evenings. Guests moved quietly through the lobby, some still discussing the memorable performances, others simply enjoying the warmth and elegance of the space. The concierge, as always, maintained his composed presence, guiding guests, answering questions, and ensuring that everything ran smoothly. Yet, there was a subtle air of anticipation in the lobby. Staff members exchanged knowing glances, aware that today's interactions could be influenced by the lasting impression left by the pianist's skill. The millionaire returned once more, his demeanor entirely changed from his initial arrival. There was a quiet respect in his eyes, and a sense of humility in the way he carried himself. He greeted the concierge with a sincere smile, a small but meaningful gesture that conveyed acknowledgement and admiration. Gone was the playful chuckle that had first greeted the hotel's formality. In its place was a quiet curiosity, a desire to engage and understand rather than to judge. As he moved through the lobby, he noticed the staff in a new light. Every gesture, every act of service, seemed more meaningful now. The way a bellhop carefully assisted an elderly guest, the precise arrangement of flowers, the gentle guidance offered to a nervous child. It all conveyed a dedication that could not be bought. The millionaire realized that these small, consistent acts of care were just as impressive as the grand gestures he was accustomed to in his world of wealth and influence. He approached the concierge, who offered a polite greeting and shared the schedule of the day's activities. The millionaire listened attentively, asking thoughtful questions rather than teasing comments. He inquired about the pianist's repertoire, his training, and his experiences performing in various settings. The concierge answered with the same calm detail, explaining how the pianist's dedication had transformed routine performances into moments that left lasting impressions on guests. The millionaire's interest was genuine, and there was an unspoken understanding that he now saw the concierge and the pianist as individuals whose skill and professionalism demanded respect. As evening approached, the lounge filled once more with guests, all eager to witness the pianist's performance. The millionaire took a seat near the front, anticipation clear in his posture. The room carried a quiet excitement, a collective awareness that something extraordinary was about to unfold. The concierge moved through the crowd, ensuring everyone was comfortable and settled, his calm presence anchoring the atmosphere. There was a sense of unity among the guests, a shared anticipation that transcended the usual social dynamics. The pianist took his seat at the piano, and the first notes began to play. The music was both gentle and commanding, filling the lounge with a presence that was impossible to ignore. The millionaire leaned forward, fully absorbed, observing the pianist's hands, the flow of the music, and the emotion conveyed through each note. The performance was masterful, each chord carefully chosen, each phrase imbued with feeling. Guests were silent, captivated by the depth and beauty of the music. It was more than a performance. It was a conversation, a story told without words. Throughout the evening, the pianist moved effortlessly between delicate melodies and powerful, expressive passages. The millionaire felt a deep sense of admiration and humility. He had arrived at the hotel expecting comfort and routine, but instead, he was witnessing an extraordinary display of talent that left a profound impact. The music evoked emotions that were both personal and universal, reminding him that skill, dedication, and passion could touch hearts in ways that money and status never could. The performance reached its climax, and the room seemed to hold its breath. Every listener was fully engaged, lost in the richness of the sound and the expression of the pianist. The millionaire experienced a mix of awe and respect, realizing that true mastery was not about showiness, but about the ability to connect with others, to inspire, and to evoke genuine emotion. The music spoke to something deeper than social hierarchy or personal achievement. It spoke to shared human experience. As the final notes faded, the lounge remained silent for a moment, allowing the resonance of the performance to settle. Then, slowly, applause began to rise, growing in intensity as guests expressed their admiration and gratitude. The millionaire joined in, clapping sincerely, his face reflecting genuine appreciation. He understood that the performance had not only impressed him but had also reshaped his perspective on what it meant to excel and to earn respect. It was a lesson in humility, in recognizing the value of talent and dedication wherever it is found. After the applause, the millionaire approached the pianist with a warm and respectful acknowledgement. He expressed his admiration, recognizing the years of practice, dedication, and passion that had created the evening's experience. The pianist accepted the praise quietly, aware that the performance had achieved more than entertainment. It had inspired and moved an audience, including someone who had once been skeptical and amused. There was a subtle satisfaction in knowing that genuine skill had bridged the gap between expectation and reality. The millionaire then turned to the concierge, offering a sincere nod of respect. He acknowledged the quiet orchestration and professionalism that had made such a performance possible. There was a mutual understanding between them, a shared recognition of the value of dedication, humility, and excellence. The concierge's role had extended beyond simple hospitality. He had facilitated a moment of transformation, where pride and skepticism gave way to admiration and reflection. As the night progressed and the lounge emptied, conversations lingered around the extraordinary performance. Guests discussed the music, the skill of the pianist, and the quiet professionalism of the staff. The millionaire reflected on the experience, recognizing that wealth and influence were not the sole measures of accomplishment. True admiration was earned through talent, passion, and the ability to touch others in meaningful ways. He understood that life offered moments of learning and insight in unexpected places, and that humility and openness could reveal experiences far richer than anticipated. Back in his room, the millionaire contemplated the past few days. He had arrived with a sense of confidence and playful amusement, expecting comfort and formality. Instead, he had witnessed talent and dedication that commanded respect, inspiring awe and reflection. The performances and interactions had left a lasting impression, reminding him that true excellence and impact come from consistent effort, humility, and the ability to connect with others. It was a realization that went beyond the walls of the hotel, offering lessons that could influence his life moving forward. The concierge, finishing his nightly duties, felt a quiet sense of fulfillment. His work had extended beyond routine hospitality. It had created an environment where skill, dedication, and human connection could be appreciated and respected. The millionaire's transformation, from amused skepticism to genuine admiration, was a testament to the power of quiet excellence and the impact of meaningful engagement. The evening had proven that talent, patience, and authenticity could leave a lasting impression far greater than wealth or status. The hotel settled into a peaceful night, the events of the past days leaving a lingering sense of warmth and satisfaction. The millionaire had experienced a journey of perception and respect. The pianist had shared his passion and skill, and the concierge had orchestrated an environment where excellence could flourish. The story of the visit would be remembered, a reminder of how humility, dedication, and genuine talent can create moments that transform perspectives and leave lasting impressions. By the end of his stay, the millionaire had changed. He moved through the hotel with quiet respect, engaging with staff and guests with sincerity. He acknowledged the effort and dedication in ways he had never done before, appreciating the value of consistency, skill, and passion. The concierge, observing these changes, felt a sense of satisfaction not from praise or recognition, but from knowing that meaningful experiences had been shared and that understanding and respect had grown between guest and host. The pianist's music had been the catalyst for a series of reflections and transformations. The millionaire's chuckle at the concierge had been replaced by admiration. The skepticism had turned into genuine curiosity, and the playful amusement had grown into sincere appreciation. The performances had demonstrated the power of skill and dedication, the ability to move hearts and minds, and the importance of humility in recognizing talent and effort wherever it is found. As the millionaire departed the hotel, there was a sense of closure and fulfillment. He carried with him a new understanding of respect, admiration, and the value of human talent. The hotel, the concierge, and the pianist had all played roles in creating an experience that went far beyond expectation. It was a story of transformation, of learning, and of the quiet power of skill and dedication. The echoes of the pianist's music and the lessons of humility and respect would remain with him, a lasting reminder of how moments of true excellence can change the way we see the world and the people in it.